here we are entering week 6 of the National Football League. I talked about the Eagles in the previous segment, and they're the ones visiting the New York Jets and taking on Zach Wilson. And you know how I said at the end of the show, was it earlier this week? They all mashed together, when you're traveling internationally and making pottery. That, I think it was maybe Monday or Tuesday where I'm like, after seeing what Zach's been doing the last 2 weeks and knowing that Aaron Rodgers is rehabbing like crazy thanks to modern medicine and his gumption and his heart and his dedication, that
and
you're
modern
not
medicine
going to
and
basically
dolphins
and modern, yeah,
and modern
you're not going to
medicine.
pull the plug. You're not going to pull the plug on Zach Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett and what they're doing to keep the fires burning so Rodgers can come back and maybe, who knows, late December, early January, be the hero and win the Super Bowl anyway, and this will be a story for the ages. You're not going to pull the plug on all that. Certainly if Zach is healthy, and certainly if Zach is performing in a trajectory that is moving further up. And it was, Brockman, what was it, week 2 Overreaction Monday podcast? You're like, the Jets should trade for Kirk Cousins, or we were starting to talk about it.
We were on
and
set
last
super
week,
early.
I wanted Tom Brady.
Last week you said the Falcons should trade for
Falcons.
Kirk Cousins.
And then Ritter
This
has
was
his best
coming
game.
off of and then Ritter played his best game yet. But I mean, this was coming off the loss in London, I believe.
Right.
So that was post week 4 Overreaction Monday. But here we are, 1-4. And Justin Jefferson is out, officially IR'd for a month. And here we are with the exact scenario that everyone was potentially envisioning for the Vikings to cut bait, to get far enough along in their season to say, we're a third of the way to Caleb Williams. We're a third of the way to Drake May, maybe. Like, this is, and Cousins is on the roster next year, we don't believe or expect. So this is the time to maybe trade him. And now with Jefferson going out, Cousins was asked if he would lift his no trade clause just to get out and get to a spot this year if the Vikings are asking. This is what he said.
Ignorance is bliss, and I'm just really ignorant. I don't really have access to a whole lot, and I try to do that by design, so it's pretty intentional. And aside from high school friends who may text me what they're reading, and I'll text them back, and I prefer to remain ignorant, so I would appreciate not getting text. Aside from that, I really don't know what's going on. I've been insulated at times to the point of being naive and a little stupid, but I'd rather err on that side than consuming everything and just having to, again, it takes your focus away from what is important and what will help you play well. And so that's kind of how I wanted to do it.
I'm impressed he still talks to people from high school.
Wow.
Wow.
Do you need a hug, Andrew?
No. Rich, we're just older than him. That's all. I mean, do you still talk to people from high school?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, I got a couple, but anyway, I digress. Your point. You were saying.
Well, no, I mean, but what's the guy going to answer, right?
Yeah.
Because if he says, yeah, I'd be willing to do that, then that's the main story going into the, Chicago Bears game this weekend. And then suddenly everyone's looking at him in the huddle like, wait a minute, you're not all in this huddle with us right now. You're thinking about trading your way out of here. You're thinking about pulling a ripcord. So I understand he's saying that he's ignorant and he's trying to ignore it. But I don't think what can be ignored here is that barring an injury to a starting quarterback for a team that has currently, what would you say, 3 wins right now, or a 2-win team that's about to get a 3rd win through 6 weeks, who's the market? Who's the market? What is the market? Like,
I don't know that there is one. I just
don't know if there is one either.
Because let's say they lose it. Look, they could also beat the Bears this week. I mean, it wouldn't surprise any of us if they go into Soldier Field and Kirk Cousins has one of those days.
Yeah, with Addison and Osborne killing it, and then suddenly he still throws for 400 yards. I mean, like that can absolutely happen.
But then next week they get the Niners on Monday night. They're going to lose that game, right?
Yeah.
So, but regardless, we know they're not better than the Lions, and they're not going to make the playoffs. So you have to make the decision. Now, the thing that Rich, stood out to us yesterday is that when Jay Glazer was on the show yesterday, he pushed back and he said, well, when I was there in training camp, and he said maybe it's changed since then, but when I was there in training camp, I kind of got the feeling that they wanted to bring him back next year. And we all went, huh? Yeah. That doesn't make sense to me.
I don't mean to. Glaze knows where more bodies are buried figuratively in the National Football League than anything. He knows his stuff. I just know that the last several years at the Combine, the Vikings in the draft have absolutely been kicking tires on who might be next. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Cousins comes at a very expensive price tag. So why wouldn't you want to find your kid in the draft? Certainly if the kids coming out in this coming draft are insanely talented and you are already, 1/6 of the way there. If you lose, even if you win the next game and you got 2 wins and then you lose 2 more and you're now 2-6, 2-7 coming with Jefferson coming back. And if you're Jefferson, you're like, I'm coming back to a 2-7 team. I haven't gotten paid. So maybe suddenly, my arm, maybe he's not. And again, he's a professional and I love the kid every single time I've seen him. But this is the reality of the National Football League. In the same way, if the Cardinals don't win many more games, despite how much moxie they've got on the board over the last 5 weeks, what if they're 1-7, 1-8, and Kyler Murray's going to come back and play then? Or do you just stick with it when you're already halfway to a first overall or second overall pick? This is absolutely in the ether right now. And part of the reason why I thought Cousins to the Jets, which, in week 2, when Zach struggled in Dallas, in week 3, and he lost to New England, and week 4, after 1 quarter, and it was, Telsey Palooza with everything going on Sunday Night Football. I thought to myself, there's no way, despite how bad the Vikings are playing, that they're going to trade Kirk Cousins because Justin Jefferson needs someone to throw to him when he's looking for a contract. And what a way to basically tell Justin Jefferson, hey, this is your big year for you to put the bag on the table. We're going to give it to you, but we're going to absolutely say, your numbers dropped. And he could easily say, well, you traded my quarterback away. And this is the way things go in the NFL. I'm sure they're going to sign Justin Jefferson or at least attempt to do that. But put it all together, I thought there's no way they're going to trade Cousins when Justin Jefferson is in this situation and he's out for 4 weeks. So it's changed everything. But who else is out there? Like, even if, heaven forbid, Dak goes down, there's Cooper Rush. If Purdy goes down, there's Sam Darnold, right? I mean, if Tua goes down, they've got Mike White. Do they go and say, screw it, we're going to bring in Cousins?
I got 2 for you.
Let's go for it. What do you got?
Number one, and it would be extreme, but if Deshaun Watson's shoulder doesn't get better, there's the Kevin Stefanski, Kirk Cousins connection. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but there's at least a tie there.
We're totally speculating right now.
It's all reckless speculation. It would require Deshaun's making 50, 60, whatever it is, and then you got to bring Cousins in. It would have to be a 1-year rental only. Clearly, you can't keep him there, so he would have to agree to go there, waive the no-trade clause, understanding he is auditioning for everyone else for next season. The other one is, and you're listing quarterbacks that could get injured. Yeah. What if Joe Burrow's calf goes again? There is nothing behind Joe Burrow there. That might be interesting, but these are all injury hypotheticals. Without an injury, I don't know that there's a spot other than Atlanta. Kyle Brandt, our good friend of Good Morning Football, yesterday had this tie-in, which I hadn't thought of. He's like, Kirk and Julie were married in Georgia. There are Georgia ties there that I wasn't aware of. Just because they chose to wed in Georgia doesn't mean he wants to play for the Falcons. But he started drawing some ties that I didn't necessarily know. And then I went, yeah, all right.
Yeah, just because I got married in the boathouse in Central Park doesn't mean I want to have a boathouse. You know what I mean?
It doesn't.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.